Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be before you live, yet I definitely would love to be with you in person. Hopefully, everyone who's watching this video, I've had the opportunity to meet you in some way, whether it's virtually or even in person. But I am Angela Griffin, our executive director at Launch, and I have been looking for a variety of ways that I can engage with our staff team as we are still in the middle of a pandemic and not able to hold our large group meetings I would love to be having, or being able to engage with each of you in a variety of one-on-one ways or team building ways. And so trying this platform of Facebook Live again to see if this is a way that I can share in messages that I hold in my mind and in my heart, and be able to engage with our staff team and in our community in ways that speak to how you hear messages and learn. And so there's a lot going on in our nation right now that I know I find myself holding a lot of tension around. And I invite each of you to join me in a daily practice that I use of taking deep breaths and focusing on what brings me joy and happiness in life. I participated in an icebreaker last week where I shared that if what brought me joy was a froyo or frozen yogurt flavor, it would be one of my four children at a young age when they were small enough for me to lift them, or my 1-year-old grandson reaching up his little arms and asking me sweetly to pick me up, and then you pick them up and they wrap their arms around you, and that just brings me such joy. And so, in moments of stress and tension, I find myself just sitting and reflecting on those things and centering myself in what brings me happiness. And I invite you to that practice as well. And so, as our presidential election continues to be held in balance, I want to remind us to think about the color brave space elements that we introduced our organization to a few years, I think a few years ago, but most recently, we invited everyone in to learn a little bit more about those norms and to practice implementing them in your engagement with others, and how you reflect on your participation in one-on-one and group experiences with others. And so one of them we can think about is the element of creating a space for multiple truths and norms, which focuses us on speaking our truths and seeking to understand the truths that differ from ours. Always remembering that we should be aware of the power dynamics that come with the truths that we may be displaying or holding ourselves to. Also, we can keep focused on our common goal at launch, which is to care deeply about youth and families, especially who are directly impacted by racism. As an organization, we're working towards becoming anti-racist in our policies and practices, as well as in our engagement and education of children and families. So we're working to invite more diverse families into our programs, which requires us to have curriculum and activities that's welcoming to all and creates an opportunity to learn the unique gift each person brings through their culture and lived experiences. I look to each person in our organization to hold the values and mission of our organization as the most important elements of our work, despite all of the issues and turmoil that's happening in the world, our country, and even our immediate community. We're fortunate at Launch to be seen as leaders in the work that we do and in the service that we provide through early learning and school age childcare, as we've been in existence for over 40 years. But we also participate directly in policy and advocacy work. I have been meeting with childcare providers in Seattle, where we provide them the majority of our services, but also throughout King County and crossing into some other counties to ensure that our sector is held as important, essential. The work that we do is as essential as the work that our firefighters and our police departments and our nurses and doctors do, because we know that without childcare, our economy will suffer. Our families will not be able to go to work and do what they need to do to take care of their families. And so we are essential and we are relevant as an organization, as a sector, as teachers, as staff, doing the work that we do. And so I have been actually looking to our local elected officials to hold them accountable to making sure that the policies that are put in place, the regulations that are designed for quality services, that the funding that we need to be able to secure our resources and pay our staff and provide the activities and the materials that we need are made available to us. And that has required that we have elected officials in place in our state and our local communities who we can hold accountable to that. So keep your hope around what is happening on the political front in our community, and and continue to find what brings you joy and happiness in your daily activities, your engagement with others. And as a proud member of our launch family, please be sure to hold each other within a place of joy and happiness as well, and support each other, lift each other up, and seek out whatever support you may need as you are managing through these times. So thank you for this opportunity to come before you. I have invited everyone to reach out to me if you have questions or thoughts or just want to chat. I have enjoyed the opportunity to sit with some people virtually and hear a little bit more about your why you are engaged with launch, and what your hope is for launch as we wrap up 2020 and move into 2021. To come and speak with me and share what your hopes and vision are, what your concerns are, and engage collectively around the great work that we have to ensure that our children are supported, our children are learning, our children are being prepared to civically engage in their future, as they have the opportunity to participate in elections and voting and so forth. And that our families are supported and kept whole as possible, with a variety of needs and supports being met, particularly their childcare needs. I actually have another thought. I'm remembering that this week we are also celebrating or acknowledging Veterans Day, and paying honor and respect to all of those who have fought in wars, who have led in our military, who have been active duty and members of the military branches that are vital in our nation. And my father was in the army. He fought in the Vietnam War, and I hold that very dear, because he was not just a, a member of the army, but he was also a Black man in the military during the time that we were experiencing a lot of civil unrest in our own country. And I hold that very dear and celebrate him and honor him, as well as just the millions of individuals who have made a decision to participate in our country, supporting our country through their military service. So let's remember to acknowledge them, hold them dear, and pay honor and tribute to them as we celebrate, remember our veterans tomorrow, November 11th on Veterans Day. And then also in this month of November, we have a tradition in our country of celebrating Thanksgiving. There's some people who choose to celebrate it the traditional way. I consider it a more colonized approach to celebrating Thanksgiving, but I find myself taking that time to give thanks in the way that our Native American families would give thanks to the land that they hold as original landholders here in our country, and all of the resources that are available to each of us, through food, through plants, through the water, through the mountain, through just everything that we hold dear many times, but sometimes we take for granted. There are members of our community who hold our land very sacredly, and our community is very sacredly, and we should give thanks and pay respect to our Native American families during this time and acknowledge their heritage as well, in our country and in our communities. And so November is there's a lot going on in November. And again, I want to remind us to stay centered and grounded in what our truths are, what brings us happiness and joy. And at launch, as a launch family, the common goal that we have towards the greatest outcomes possibly for our children, youth, and our families. Enjoy the rest of your day. Reach out if you want to check in with me, and I appreciate each one of you. Thank you.